Prison isn't made for soft edges. It's sharp, it's raw, it's survival. You don't make friends the first week. You make enemies, or you make sure you're not worth the trouble. And then there was him. Damon. 6'3" of muscle and menace. Tattoos like stories carved into skin. Eyes too bright to belong in a place this dark. The first time we crossed paths was in the yard. I was new, still learning the rhythm, still figuring out who was who. I caught his stare, too long, maybe too bold. "You looking at me?" he barked, voice deep, carrying across the concrete. I should have backed down. Should have looked away. But I didn't. Maybe I am. That was all it took. Fists flew. His knuckles split my lip, my elbow cracked against his jaw. The world narrowed to grunts, blood, adrenaline. We were animals, circling, striking, feeding on the rage that prison pumps into your veins. Guards broke us apart before either of us could do real damage. But the fire had been lit, and it didn't go out. They threw us into the same block. Fate's cruel joke. Nights, I could hear him through the walls. His laugh. His curses. His weight hitting the mattress when lights went out. One evening, after lockdown, the guard shoved me into my new cell. And there he was. Damon. My enemy. My shadow. My cellmate. The air thickened instantly. His gaze met mine, hot, unreadable. I dropped my bag onto the floor, keeping my face steady. "This is a mistake," I muttered. He smirked, leaning back on the bunk like he owned it. "Only mistake here is you think you can survive this cell with me in it." I should have said something sharp, something cutting. But all I could think about was how close he was. The smell of sweat and soap. The memory of his fists on my skin. The strange spark that came with it. Hate, I told myself. This was hate. So why did it feel like hunger? It happened on the third night. We'd been circling each other like wolves, trading insults, glares, silent dares. The tension was unbearable, vibrating through the thin air of the cell. I don't remember who swung first. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was him. All I know is we collided again, fists and fury, bodies slamming into steel. He shoved me against the wall, breath hot against my face. "You never learn, do you?" I spat blood to the side, glaring up at him. "Come on then. Finish it." But he didn't hit me. He kissed me. Hard. Brutal. Teeth and lips, fury turned inside out. And God help me, I kissed him back. We stumbled, crashing onto the lower bunk, the thin mattress groaning under us. The fight twisted, shifted, became something else entirely. His hands pinning my wrists, my legs pushing against him, not to escape but to pull him closer. There was nothing gentle about it. It was fire, violence turned to desire, rage transformed into need. The sound of his breath in my ear. The scrape of stubble against my neck. The way his voice broke into a growl when I pulled him down harder. Under that bunk, in the shadows, we weren't enemies. We weren't prisoners. We weren't anything but two men burning alive, and finding the only way to survive it was to consume each other. It was wrong. It was reckless. It was perfect. When it was over, we lay there in the dark, bodies tangled, sweat cooling. The silence was deafening. Finally, Damon muttered, "We're cooked." I let out a shaky laugh. Yeah, completely. But he didn't move away. Didn't let go. And in the dim light, I realized something I'd never admit out loud, not yet. We hadn't just fought. We hadn't just made love. Somewhere in between, we'd started to fall. The next morning, nothing was the same. We didn't speak of it. We didn't have to. The way Damon looked at me told me everything. The smirk a little sharper, the stare a little longer, the way his hand brushed mine when we both reached for the same tin cup of water. That night, it happened again. We didn't fight this time, not with fists anyway. We fought with restraint, trying not to wake the guards, biting back groans, muffling curses into each other's mouths. Damon had me pinned beneath him, muscles flexing like coiled steel, tattoos shifting as he moved. I should have been terrified, but my body betrayed me, arching into him, begging for more. The smell of sweat, iron, and soap clung to us. His breath was hot, ragged against my skin. Every thrust, every grind, every desperate kiss felt like a declaration. We're alive, right here, right now, even if the world outside these walls has already buried us. Afterward, we lay in silence again. But this time, his hand stayed on my chest, fingers tapping against my heartbeat like he was memorizing it. Days bled into nights. Weeks blurred together. We became something unspoken, something dangerous. In a place where weakness could get you killed, we carved out a secret strength. Damon became more than my enemy, more than my cellmate. He was my fire, my punishment, my only freedom. But prison doesn't forgive softness. One evening in the yard, I caught another inmate watching me too long. Damon saw it too. Later, when lights went out, he pressed me against the wall, his voice low, rough, almost breaking. "You're mine in here. Don't forget that." I nodded, throat tight. Not because I was afraid, because I wanted it to be true. And yet I knew. Men like us, in a place like this? It couldn't last. Sooner or later, the walls would crush us. The guards would catch on. Or worse, the other inmates. But every night, when Damon's body covered mine, when his lips pressed against my ear and his breath shuddered like he needed me as much as I needed him, I let myself forget. Forget the bars. Forget the stairs. Forget the inevitable end. Because in that cell, with Damon's weight holding me down, I wasn't a prisoner anymore. I was his. Completely. But secrets don't stay buried long in a place built on whispers. It started with the looks. The guards noticed first, the way Damon's eyes tracked me in the chow line, the way we moved together like some silent unit. Then came the comments from the others. Low, ugly jokes tossed across the yard. Damon's pet. Fresh meat. Sweet thing. I ignored it. Damon didn't. He burned hotter, meaner, every glance a threat, every touch more desperate. The night after one of the older cons spit at me in the showers, Damon pulled me into the corner of the cell and kissed me like a man trying to stamp his name into my bones. "You're mine," he growled again, but there was a tremor in his voice this time, a crack in the armor. I cupped his jaw, felt the pulse hammering there. "I know," I whispered, and I meant it, even though a part of me knew it was a promise neither of us could keep. Rumors in prison are like fire. They spread, and they destroy. One evening, just after lockdown, a warning came from one of the few inmates who didn't hate me outright. "They're planning something. For you." His eyes flicked to Damon's bunk. "And for him, if he gets in the way." I lay awake that night, Damon's arm draped over me, listening to his slow, heavy breathing. For the first time, the heat between us felt like a countdown instead of a refuge. This thing we'd built, the fire, the hunger, had made us a target. I thought of telling him, of asking him to stop, to let me go, to save himself. But his fingers tightened on my hip in his sleep, and the words died in my throat. I didn't want to be saved. Not yet.